Jimmy,
Here I am.
Charlie,
Hello there.
take it away, Jimmy.
What do you call Admiral Akbar wearing a tuxedo?
I don't know.
Sophisticated.
Yes. Yes,
The
love it.
force is with me on that one.
Awesome. Best one yet, bro.
Thank you.
Wanna buy some dead stick?
Jedi.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Always a pleasure to meet you.
And my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
You failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi.
Hello, explorers. And as we are recording this, it is happy May the 4th day, everybody. However, today, when you're listening, be wary of Revenge of the 6th. And a happy second anniversary, second birthday to Explore the Force. Oh my goodness. Today's episode, we are celebrating Star Wars Day by going over Tales of the Underworld, all very, very exciting, and taking some time to reminisce on 2 whole years of Explore the Force. Now, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and leave us a rating. And if you like what you're hearing, Jimmy, how are you doing? Looking fantastic in the Jedi robe, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I am doing well. We're winding down with school. That's always a fun and exciting time. So weather has been lovely. And obviously we're recording on May the 4th, so I've got to do some fun Star Warsy things. Not as much as I had hoped for, because my job always seems to take. But other than that, doing really, really well. How about you, Jack? What have you been up to?
Yes, happy May the 4th to you both. I'm doing really good. I'm still really suffering from Japan. Unfortunately, the only cosplay I've got today is the Jude Law look. No change there. I'm obviously repping Navarro Post for the Belgium prop builders, guys and girls. Good to be back. It's so good to be back. Had a brilliant week. Been quite busy. But yeah, it's just really good to be back. Charlie, how are you, my love?
I'm doing all right. I feel like I haven't stopped. I got back from my mum's and it has been busy, busy, busy. But I always look forward to May the 4th. It is a nice chance to sit back and enjoy some Star Wars and enjoy some of my favourite things. If you guys have not been seeing the fantastic content Star Wars have been posting on their social media over the last couple of hours, please go and indulge because there's plenty in there that made me cry my little eyes out and made me so unbelievably happy to be a Star Wars fan.
Yes, it's that day, isn't it? It's what the whole community day is about. Now, before we do go over to our Force Encounters, I do believe Charlie has a new segment of the show that we are introducing called Charlie's Fun Fact. What have you got for us, Charlie?
So, today, would you guys like to know the origin of the phrase, May the 4th be with you?
Yeah.
So, obviously, we know this plays on the iconic line from Star Wars, May the Force be with you. And the first recorded use of this pun traces back to May the 4th, 1979, when Margaret Thatcher became the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. To celebrate her victory, her political party, the Conservative Party, took out an advertisement in the London Evening News that said, May the 4th be with you, Maggie. Congratulations. And while this reference was far more political than it was fan celebration, it marked the first notable connection between May the 4th and the Star Wars franchise.
Brilliant. Brilliant little fun fact. Did not know that. Right. Let's head over then to this week's Force Encounters.
For my ally is the Force.
All right. Looks like I'm getting us started today. So, I mean, much like probably all of us, Force Encounters this week, waking up to the Tales of the Underworld, which I'm super excited to dive into. I've spent a lot of money leading up to May the 4th because there are so many sales on so many things. Yeah, so basically giving up all my Republic credits to Lucasfilm licensed merchandise. I think has been my Force encounter, unfortunately, for this week, and then trying to catch up on just rest and recovery and all the things that Star Wars is offering, because we got tons of comics and we got all these other things and books. And I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Vernestra Wayseeker book comes out on Tuesday, I think. So I'm not even halfway through the other book I've been reading, so I'm in for it. I got some work to do. So Charlie, how has your Force encounters been this week?
Thanks, Jimmy. My Force encounter this week also involved waking up in the morning because my favourite thing on May the 4th is seeing the massive influx of people sharing old cosplay posts, new cosplay posts, Star Wars content, Star Wars memes, and it's just been an absolute joy. My feed from the moment I woke up till this very moment is absolutely packed with Star Wars.
Nice, nice. Mine's been pretty much the same as you guys, waking up and having so much Star Wars goodness. However, when I got back to work, a friend of mine left me this book on the desk, a guide to the Star Wars universe. I've never even heard of this before, but in it, it's got all the original stuff, novels from Star Wars: The Last Command, animated shows, TV series, droids, Ewoks, National Public Radio dramatizations. There is so much in this book. I cannot wait to dive into this. It's full of pictures as well and diagrams of some awesome, awesome stuff. Things in here that I've never even heard of. So I'm really thankful for that. Big shout out to Joe, a person I work with. And as well, to celebrate our 2-year anniversary and also the May the 4th day, check out the socials because I'm doing a massive giveaway where one lucky person could be in the chance of winning a Revenge of the Sith poster. So yeah, check out the socials and get involved on that. Right then, let's head over to this week's news in Batu.
The people in this crowd will soon be among almost 40,000.
For those who are among the 900 with news media or promotional tickets, this sneak preview probably will be the only chance to see the Empire Strikes Back.
Okay, so this week, Star Wars really did take over online and in another galaxy by taking over the Fortnite galaxy with a ton of cosmetic items, skins, and literally characters galore in Fortnite. Now, I don't play Fortnite personally. My son does, my daughter does. However, I have organised a special review by somebody very, very special. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that later this week.
Aw.
Charlie, over to you.
Oh my Oh my goodness, how unbelievably exciting. I will also keep my eyes peeled for that. Katie Sackhoff is joined on the latest episode of The Sackhoff Show by Sam Witwer, who of course voices Darth Maul, and Skywalker Sounds legend David Collins to talk Star Wars, which is well worth a listen.
Yep.
Yeah, she does have great guests. I mean, it's like a Star Wars fan, but she's also in it, so she always has that. I like the name of her old show, the Blah 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 with Katie Sackhoff, before she
Yeah, I
changed
like that.
it.
That's
And
great.
I do know she's doing a special at ICCC, which is I think in Nashville. They're doing a special like live recording of her show coming up, so that's pretty exciting. But this I got to pay attention to because David was awesome. Jack and I got to meet him at Celebration, just standing beside the stage. He was really nice. And of course, who doesn't love Sam Witwer? I mean, the guy is like a walking encyclopedia of Star Wars
Yeah.
and amazing voice actor. So I love him. What about you guys? Have you guys listened to this yet?
Yes, it's a brilliant show. Great episode. They have a little catch up. They actually talk about Star Trek in the show, but they've got
Aw.
great chemistry. Flows really nicely. Yeah, big fan of the show. I'd love to go on one day. Why not?
Yeah,
Oh my God, a dream.
yeah, for sure. I'd just be like, oh, like as she's talking to me.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan's talking to me.
2%.
Yeah, and like I said before, those of you who saw me at Celebration, you saw how much stuff I have, and I am working on a video for all the stuff I got, but trying to figure out how to record all that and get it set up. So I'm working with that. But the big thing, and I don't know how long the sales go on for, but folks, if you want to buy something Star Wars today or the week leading up to it, and hopefully a couple days afterwards will be the day, you can get on Amazon. I was actually looking while we were walking through Target this morning, and they have everything from toys, to Lego, to luggage, to toothbrushes. I mean, everything Star Wars is like super discounted. Redbubble is having, not because of Star Wars, but they're actually having a 20 to 40% off sale, and all of our stuff's included in that. So if you want to look real cool at your next Star Wars event, where and explore the Force stuff, check them out. Lego has deals going on. Funko has buy two get one free deals going on right now. So I mean, if you want Star Wars stuff, go get Star Wars stuff. But so yeah, so like that's one thing. It's kind of cool how the world has embraced May the 4th,
Yeah.
even before Disney really did it, because they really never have done it until like what, the last 2 or 3 years. They've really kind of jumped in on it, especially with the stuff we're talking about today. Because if I can get a Tales of every May the 4th, I'll be a happy man. Like if it's something we can legitimately look forward to every year, and has it been the last 3? Did the first one come out on May the 4th? Because I know the last one did.
Yes,
So that is
I think
exciting.
so.
But yeah, so and to finish out today, Tales of the Underworld, we like I said, released today. All of our Force encounters, probably everyone that's listening's Force encounters for the day. We are going to dive into this week's show.
Okay, so this week then we're going to go over Tales of the Underworld, as Dave Filoni kindly gifted it on our behalf, since it's our 2-year anniversary as a podcast. Definitely not because it's May the 4th, so thank you, Mr. Filoni, for that. And joining us today is a good friend of mine and another Brit. It's Luke, also known as I Like That Wookie.
Hey there, you alright?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Hey, thank you for coming on. Why don't you tell the listeners, kind of give them who you are, what you do on social media, and then maybe give us like your favorite movie, your favorite character, something like that, just so we all know where you're coming from.
So hard to pick, isn't it?
Yeah, nothing difficult, no pressure. I'll judge you after these questions, but
yeah, there'll be a right and a wrong answer for some people, but hopefully we're amongst friends here. It'll be okay. So I might like that Wookiee on social media. We've just started a website as well, www.wookiewatch.co.uk. I started cosplaying about 3 years ago, and before that, Star Wars was very much sort of an isolated thing for me that almost enjoyed as a dirty secret as an adult. Very much going on the forums occasionally, but didn't really have any friends other than like my best friends from childhood who I could talk to about this stuff. So getting into cosplay, it's just broadened my world for fandom.
Awesome. So, what would you say? Do you have a movie that you feel like brought you into the universe, or was it the Clone Wars? I mean, you don't have very much gray in your beard like I do, so you got to be a young
It's getting
fella.
there. It's coming along.
So
I'm 36. So the
you're
first
just a wee baby.
the first Star Wars I saw in the cinema was The Phantom Menace, but before that, obviously, I did the releases on VHS for the original trilogy, which I remember religiously watching. In terms of a favorite, it's probably not a popular thing to say, but a lot of the new ones actually really resonate. And although I know it's a bit controversial, I really love The Last Jedi.
All right. That's not. I mean, yeah. I'm just glad people like that movie.
Yeah,
but it's hard, really, isn't it? Because like they're all brilliant in their own way. So if I was had to pick one, it would probably be The Last Jedi. But
Awesome.
really, I like to try and pick sort of a favorite from each trilogy. So from sequels, it would be Last Jedi. From prequels, it would be Phantom Menace, and Return of the Jedi from the originals.
Nice.
Nice.
Those are great. Those are all great movies.
Thank you so much, my guy. We are best friends now. You are more than welcome to stay as long as you like. Have as much fun as you want. We're besties now. That was exactly the correct answer, in my opinion. This week we are we are going to take our new guest, and we are going to recap over Tales of the Underworld, which follows the backstories of Lady Ventress and Cad Bane. So, spoiler warning, big spoiler warning. If you have not watched the episodes, go and watch them, and then come back and listen to us.
Yes, and as always, we're going to break down the episodes. We're going to talk about what it can mean for the Star Wars universe and just kind of dive into them here. 6 amazing episodes, I thought. For me, right off the bat, I guess we're going to do an overall look. I'll have to say that I keep saying Vernestra because I'm stuck on the High Republic. The Ventress arc is right up there with me with the Barisafi and Count Dooku arcs. So those are my big three. And I think it's more about what they mean. But I love this backstory. It's kind of funny to me too, because like with Andor being out and everyone complaining about like these, these plot driven and character development stuff, I want to see how many people complain about, because I think especially the Cad Bane stuff felt more like a character deep dive, like a character study. And I enjoyed it. It was very different from what I expected, I guess. I thought it was great. But yeah, for me overall, love both of them. They're definitely a rewatch. There's only one so far out of the 6 that we've got that I won't rewatch because I just think it's kind of silly. But the rest of them, especially these new 2, I've already watched the first episode of the Ventress arc 3 times now. Once a Celebration, once this morning, and then one more time just before we hopped on because I enjoyed it so much. What about you, Luke? Overall impression?
Well, who knew that we wanted a Cad Bane backstory? Who had that on their list? Because I certainly didn't. But like you say, I think it was really character driven and actually really surprised me and hit me emotionally, which I wasn't expecting.
I think it's been a really really interesting group of episodes. I came to them having kind of little interest in these characters, like not that I hate them or I dislike them by any stretch, but these are smaller pockets of the Star Wars universe that most people would kind of gloss over. And what we ended up getting were these 6 kind of really emotive episodes. The Cad Bane arc had me hooked to the telly, like absolutely straight glued from episodes like 4 to 6. Absolutely captivating. Jack, what were your kind of first impressions?
Yeah, exactly same as you, Charlie. The Cad Bane stuff was by far my favourite stuff. I did think the Ventress stuff was a little boring, if I'm totally honest. Yeah, I need to be surprised at that. It was okay. I enjoyed it. It's not the worst one of all of them. But it did seem a little bit repetitive. But I'll go into that in a bit more detail when we're talking about the arcs and stuff like that. But overall, super happy. Yeah, Cad Bane, super emotional. I can't wait for more already. I want to see some Bosk stuff next. That's what I want to see. Some backstory on Bosk.
That'd be cool.
Because I know he's got a really good backstory. But yeah, loved it. Over to you, Jimmy.
All right, so we're going to dive into these 2 arcs, and I'm going to show Jack and Charlie why they're wrong, I guess. Just kidding. But yeah, so we're looking at A Way Forward, Friends, and One Warrior to Another, the Ventress arc. So we're going to dive into that one first. The first airing of these that we know of, The Way Forward, was shown at the animation panel in Celebration. So that was April 18th. That was nuts. I can tell you from being in there, I was like, oh my God. And you can tell the people who have read Dark Disciple against the people who have not read Dark Disciple, because there was a lot of confused folks as what the beep is going on. Why is Quinlan Voss and Obi-Wan Kenobi carrying Asajj Ventress' dead body into the Lake of Dathomir? And then on Friday, like we said, Fortnite, they showed the first 2 episodes, I believe. I don't even know how to play Fortnite. We tried to do it once with a swim team, and I ended up in some weird concert of some singer that I was like, what is happening? So I deleted it off my PlayStation. And then, of course, today, May the 4th, no old guy jokes. Charlie, I see you laughing. Today, May the 4th, 2025, we got all 6 episodes, and we're going to dive into them. So, first and foremost, I just want to say that I think the path as introduced in the Kenobi series is the tie that binds Star Wars moving forward.
Interesting.
And I think maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I see this potential. And I know I've read a lot of things online, and I've seen a lot of things in Discords that we're part of. People feel like it's not finished. And I'm like, duh. It's not finished. Like, there's more coming. Like, I think that it's purposely left just dangling those breadcrumbs of the path of Ventress and Lyco, because I do believe, having spoke, the stuff that Nika Fuderman told us 2 years ago about this, and how she said it's just that was just the tip of the iceberg, and then I think she got to kind of get shut down by the Mouse House for saying too much. But what did you guys think? I'm curious. I want to hear what you guys have to say first. I will say, right before I let you go, I love the music in
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
first three. Like I
Yes.
thought that soundtrack, and that was Kevin, Sean, and Deanna Kiner. What a musical family! They're like the Von
Hardly a
Trapps or
fair.
something. So amazing. It's like I mean, that house is alive with the sound of music, if you know what I mean. So,
Mhm.
but I can't even imagine the pressure in that family if you don't like music. So,
Yeah.
anyways, Luke, you're our guest. Talk to us. What did you like? What didn't you like about the Ventress
Sure.
art?
Well, like you said, that opening on Dathomir, personally, as someone who has read that book, I thought it was just like on point. You know,
Almost
little
started
little
crying.
chills. It was
Yeah.
lovely. It was lovely. What I really enjoyed was uh, the visualization of when she comes back to life, and Mother Towson talking to her. Through other stories, obviously, we're seeing more and more about Night Sisters and how they use the Force. And I just feel that all throughout this story, there was subtle hints and world building, like you're saying about the path, about all kinds of things from other stories that we've seen.
What about you, Jack?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think this is Dave Filoni's way of telling people that he does care about what is being written about Star Wars, and making sure that what people are writing is part of the Star Wars universe, with canon stuff and etc. So I think this is like his sort of, I am conscious of what's being wrote and I will include it if it's relevant or makes sense, if you like. Also, having read the book, more than happy. Great little opening. Um, the music was absolutely on fire throughout every single episode of both arcs. But just going back to the original arc, and the reason I thought it was boring was because, like, yet again, it's a story where someone's run away from something. They're working a job that they don't want to work, and then suddenly they've come across a Jedi. Now they're helping the Jedi. I mean, we have heard that quite a few times now. In my personal opinion, it's like the same sort of thing. Asajj looks great. I love the lightsaber in it. Looks great. Did we notice the lightsaber handle?
It's her curved
Mm.
handle.
Mm.
Reminiscent of Dooku.
Yeah,
So great little shout out to that.
and her blades from when she was his Sith apprentice as well.
Yeah. So she's
Mhm.
But
still
she's
carrying.
Yeah, but she switched to yellow, which is like the
Yes.
guardian. So I feel like her whole, like I just feel like her personality has changed,
Yeah.
as
Mm.
to where she is as a person, especially after you've read Dark Disciple
Mm.
and then you've seen Bad Batch. And I do think, like Jack, like you said too, though, Dave being conscious of things. This was Dark Disciple was supposed to be an arc in the Clone Wars, and then it got
Yeah.
canceled
Yes.
because it was written, I believe, by Lucas's daughter
Mm.
originally. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's good that it's acknowledged and put in there as well. The story's fine. Lyco, I could take a liking to Lyco, if you like. I still like to know a little bit more about him. I know he did mention in there. What did he say now? Something like you need to think more, or something like. There's a line there that he said that his master trained him. I think he was referencing Yoda off the top of my head.
You
You know
know,
what line I'm on
like
about?
with Lyco, one of the things I thought was really awesome was that where we've seen like Ezra Bridger, who he was actually quite a lot like in terms of
Yeah.
jokey young kid sort of thing,
Mm.
but that time in the Jedi Temple and that sort of attitude, like this, like Ventress said, it reeked on him. She could smell the Jedi on him, in a way that you can't off of a bogan Jedi like Ezra Bridger.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, great points. But yeah, overall, like I said, I did enjoy it. I did find it a little bit boring. What about you, Charlie?
See, I'm coming to this from a slightly different perspective from you guys. I have not read Dark Disciple, but as soon as the episode opened, I was thinking about all of my bestie friends who have read Dark Disciple. I hope everyone's hearts are doing okay. Are we all feeling all right? Do we need a hug? Do we need a hug? I think we
We
might need a
might.
bit of a hug. I understand that the culmination of this story and writing of this story is kind of essential to this character's arc, and I know that she is a very important character to a lot of people. Doesn't necessarily strike those chords with me, but what I do want to say is, first and foremost, before I even got stuck into the story, the animation style and the elevating, like I thought we'd hit the peak with like season 3 of Bad Batch. No. We've gone up a whole other level, and because these are shorter episodes, they've got a bigger budget to work with, can put more time in. Everything from the textures on the clothes to the shine in people's eyes to the paint jobs on the speeders and the mechanical equipment. The layers and layers and layers of these colors and textures and details, which made it look so painted but so solid at the same time. There was something really enchanting to me about that. And yeah, the story of kind of acquiring another young Jedi, the call to action, all of that kind of hero's journey stuff. Yes, we've seen it before. Yes, it's repetitive. But I will admit these lightsaber fights have been really feeding me after missing them in Andor. I'll be honest, I'm getting my fix watching this, quite frankly. So
Nice.
yeah, maybe a little boring for me personally, but I don't have the back connection to this character that obviously you guys do. So Jimmy, I am interested to see kind of your perspective on things as like a bigger fan and somebody who's more kind of emotionally invested in that way.
I guess I need to ask you guys, the episodes bored you or the story idea bored you? Like, did you not
Story.
enjoy like the action and stuff like that? Or is it just like, oh, here we go again, it's another of these?
It was
Yeah,
a
it
story for
was.
me. The action was perfect.
Yeah,
For me, it
Okay.
was a
action was
story.
perfect. Story, it was. Oh my goodness, here we go.
Do you know,
Yeah.
I can understand that point of view to a degree. If you don't have the emotional resonance with the character, it will just look like another cookie cutter, sort of like young wolf cub, lost Jedi looking for guidance. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I get it. I think too, like if you go back and you rewatch like not the last season, what season did Ahsoka leave? Season 5?
5, yeah.
So you go back and you watch that and you see the change, and there's a bunch of episodes. Like I wish I could.
Yeah.
Sometimes Disney does that thing where they pull their characters and they have like all the arcs. They did it
Yeah,
for Ahsoka,
timeline.
so they need
Essential
to do that
episodes, yeah.
for Ventress. And I think let people see her from episode 1, and then how she changes. And of course, if you read the book, there's definitely a massive connection to this character. I think she reminds me so much of Maul, where like just the wrong person found her. Ironically, though, in her story, the right person found her, then died. Then the wrong person found her. Then the right person found her. Then she was killed by the wrong person. You know, there's just this whole tragic story, and she wants to be good. But I think this episode has so many questions. Like Lyco Strata, you look him up on Wikipedia. It doesn't say anything else about him except, very little, nothing about his master, who his master would have been at the time. I wrote down, where is he during the Bad Batch episode that she shows up, right? So like, where is he at during this?
Yeah.
I couldn't even find who voiced this character yet on IMDb. I don't know if it's too soon.
Oh, I got that
Do you know?
down
Do you have
earlier.
that information? Because I was kind of
Bear with me a
curious.
minute, mate.
He looked a little jaundiced on my screen. I don't know. Maybe it was just the coloring. But I'm here for it. I want to see this dynamic of this Asajj Ventress, who probably would have been one of the greatest Jedi. I mean, I don't know though, because she does have a temper. But given her whole story and how passionate she is, I want to see what she does. And then, of course, you have her doing this. You have, at the same time, you've got the Kanan stuff happening with Ezra. You've got Cal Kestis, who we don't know where he's at doing things. Like, you have this whole possible shift in the Jedi Order coming, because I do think that some of this stuff is going to come back around to change some things. Time-wise, I don't know exactly how it all lines up, but I think there's a big change coming. I've said this before too. I think that the path, like I said at the beginning of the show, I think the path is this thing that they're going to use to bring everything together. Because if you haven't played the second, was it Jedi Fallen Order? Which one's the second one?
Survivor,
right? Like that whole concept of Talonor. I don't want to go too much into that story, but wouldn't that be a great place for the path to be hidden? A planet that no one else could get to. So there's that. And then what else did I put? Okay, and then just that opening sequence, again, confusing for people who haven't read the book. But when you go to watch Ahsoka Season 2, and the Night Sisters are doing something crazy on Dathomir and resurrecting whatever's in those bins.
Yeah.
Is this going to make sense? Like, is this like Dave Filoni's way of saying like, hey, we're going to set this here so that people can call back and be like, oh, look, they can bring people back from the dead.
Yeah.
Charlie?
The actor's name, just before you move on, was Lane Factor.
Lane Factor. Okay, because that was not on IMDb this morning.
Yeah, I found it. Where did I find it earlier? Actually, I think I did find it on IMDb. I'm not sure.
Mine's failing me. Uh-oh.
Interesting.
So,
I think as well, I said it months ago, I think we're going to get this Avengers type film where all these Jedi's on this path are all going to come out. There's a film coming out, and I think it's going to be on that film where we're going to have Ezra turning up, Cal turning up, all these Jedi's turning up. I think it's definitely leading towards something like that.
I'm really interested in the idea you're saying about the path, certainly, because the call for Cal Kestis to be in live action is pretty loud. And to have him tied in with the path and with the Jedi that we know are on the run, like Quinlan Vos, you could see, well, what a great idea it would be to have Tales of the Path.
Yes.
Just to tie it all in.
Yeah. What do you think, Charlie?
I think that could be super, super interesting. Something else I really, really enjoyed about specifically this Ventress arc, not only does it remind me of, I believe it's the Greek myth of Persephone and Orpheus, when she stays in the underworld and he leaves her and he's told not to look back and not to look behind. The links between that and obviously Mother Talzin being like, so you can live, but you can never see him again. Oh, absolutely devastating. But what I
Tragic.
think I found specifically fascinating about this episode is, so obviously when the prequels were coming out and post Order 66, and post Revenge of the Sith, there was this idea that to survive Order 66 was a rare thing. There were no Jedi left that had survived. This episode of Tales of the Underworld is really starting to open up this idea that way more Jedi survived than we realized. And they're actually becoming so common, and there are so many. And as the path gets wider and longer and more interconnected, we're seeing more and more and more of it in the storytelling through live action and animation. And that really tickles my interest.
I think it's the best way to rebuild the Jedi Order quickly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, 3 movies of Rey, which I'm here for, it's going to be her trying to build this back up. I don't know why I have this idea, and I could be completely wrong. I just see like this trilogy going with Rey, and then just this enemy that can't be defeated. And of course, they're talking about, was it the Rakatan on Andor? They're talking about this ancient warriors. What if they show up in the Rey stuff? Rey's struggling. She doesn't have enough people. And then bam, all of a sudden, Infinity War style, the Mantis comes flying out of nowhere and you've got the path, I don't know. Like, I am here for it. And then you just have the culmination. I mean, think about the people you've got leading the Jedi Order and what they could do with it. It blows my mind. And I know there are a lot of old school people, granted, I was only 1 when the movie came out. So people who are probably in their 60s or so, a little bit older than I am, are probably foaming at the mouth because here's another Jedi that survived Order 66, right? If you're looking at it through if you're looking at it through Obi-Wan Kenobi's eyes and Yoda's eyes, they looked at videotape of people getting mowed down, but they had no idea. I mean, they're spread out all over the galaxy, even in Revenge of the Sith. Anakin tells Padme he didn't think they were ever going to come back to Coruscant, but they got called back because of the stuff that Dooku or Grievous was doing, right? So they got Jedi spread out all over the galaxy. The galaxy is this huge place. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not really that many of tens of thousands of Jedi or whatever they had supposedly at their height, because I know it kind of comes down from after the High Republic and it kind of levels off from what I feel. Maybe we'll get some tidbits of that in the new Wayseeker book when we find out a little bit more about Vernestra and stuff. But there's probably just enough people to rebuild that order in a way that would really help storytelling. You know what I mean? So you're not having to develop all that. Like, all of a sudden you've got, like I said, all those different characters that everyone knows and loves from different platforms, and bam, there they are. And there you have reestablished the new Jedi Order with Rey probably sitting at the top of it, and I'm sure that'll piss a lot of people off. Oh no, a woman's leading the Jedi Order, whatever will we do? So, but I think it will be great. So I don't know.
This is
Jimmy,
the effect of these Tales of the Underworld as well.
Jimmy, you were saying You were saying earlier, Jimmy, about the growth that Ventress has had from
Oh,
those earlier episodes. I thought a really great moment that showcased that was when she was talking to the chap who had been injured, the former colonel.
from one
Yeah.
warrior to another. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, one warrior to another. And when he sort of says, oh well, we should have had more of your sort on the wall, and she's like, no, both sides of the wall were wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
How many
I thought that
people?
was-
How many people who fought on that side of the war are going to say that? Because we've seen in The Mandalorian, the chap who plays Doc Brown, who was on Dooku's side in that war, is still a zealot
Yeah.
for that. So obviously he didn't have that kind of growth that Ventress has had.
No, for sure. I mean, you've seen it too, like in the Mask of Fear books, because that stuff's that everyone's kind of coming back in, and you've seen some more separatist. Because we never got a lot of separatist point of views, and we're getting that in the Reign of the Empire, how they're
Yeah.
dealing with things, and of course, some of the main characters or side characters in that are. I mean, one's a separatist super assassin that we're kind of getting through his eyes, and then yeah, like Ventress saying that, I was like, ooh, like Ventress, like dang girl, like you get it, And Padme said herself, maybe we're on the wrong side, Annie. She saw it coming too, and then Ventress to say both sides are wrong. I think that's an excellent point, Luke. Like that was, I mean, if you got nothing else out of it, I was like, oh dang, Ventress sees it, the big picture. So
it's a real stick. It's a real stick in the road as to where she's at right now and where potentially any story in the future for her is heading.
I have one last question. You guys have anything else with this one? I got one more
the
question.
arc.
Yeah, with the arc or anything like that.
Go on, Charlie.
I did very briefly just want to mention the end of the episode when they return with the people whose water it is, and there's this kind of back and forth about, well, they are willing to come to a compromise if you are willing to speak and if you are willing to listen. I think that's something a really, really important message to be put out at the moment, especially given the current climate of things. It's all well and good that we want to speak with each other, but have we got the ability to listen? And for the colonel to hold his gun and to say it's hard to let go is some incredibly powerful writing from Dave Filoni. I don't know how he does it every single time. Really, really moving, really, really passionate, and always so kind of hard-hittingly relevant in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect Star Wars to tackle or to cover. I also really, really enjoyed. I keep forgetting his name. Her new apprentice,
Lyco.
Lyco. Yeah. His force translation ability, is this a new force power? Is
The language
does he
thing.
just happen to be particularly proficient in languages? Is he secretly part protocol droid?
I have seen that. I know this isn't going to go over well with some people, but do you remember Yord from Acolyte? He said that
Yes.
he says in that like when everyone else was taking this, I took this. So like it's like high school where you got to take a language, and he just happened to pick up this. I don't know. That's how I think it. But I also think you might be right though. It might be a Jedi thing, like how some people can understand droids and some can't.
Yeah.
Luke and Ray can seem to understand exactly what R2D2 is saying, and everyone else is like,
Huh?
beep boop blop, like whatever. Like I don't know what you're saying to it. Maybe it is a Jedi thing that you can, I mean, they have Jedi who understand mechanics better. They have, they have the Jedi, especially in the High Republic. You see a plethora of Jedi talents coming out, not just in like combat and mind, stuff. It kind of manifests itself in all these different ways. So maybe, I mean, I thought the
really
fish cool looking too.
I really enjoyed him too as well, Charlie. I thought he was brilliant. And what an interesting choice that he decided not to go with the path. Again, like, I wonder if there's more to that in some way. Because it seemed like such a 180.
Yeah.
Like that everyone's motivations were left quite ambiguous. It all felt like this kind of back and forth between good choices and bad choices, the good side and the bad side. I think that works really nicely for keeping the mystery of where Ventress's character is at this point. Like, well, yeah, she doesn't have a red lightsaber anymore, but Girlie is conflicted. She's obviously got some feelings. She's obviously got some stuff going on. And like seeing her leap to the idea of finding Quinlan, and then very, very quickly by the end of that third episode being like, no, I can't anymore. I can't do that. What is going on in her head? I wish we we were shown so much, yet also shown so little. I think that's partly my frustration with it. I feel like I was shown so little about her as a character and her motivations, whereas the Cad Bane arc was much more of like a character study.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my next question. Do you guys want a Bad Batch style series of Asajj and Lyko going around and helping people, kind of like
Yes.
what we thought the Mando was? Like the Mando was going to be a week to week baddie. Of course, they're never going to just have it be that simple. There will be a through story,
Yeah.
training, hiding from the Inquisitors. I mean, you can pull all kinds of stuff into a show like that. Like,
Yeah.
would you want that, especially Charlie, the way you, how much you love this animation? Like, would you want to see that on a week to week basis?
Absolutely, 100%. If it looks that beautiful, that visually like sumptuous and delicious, I sound like I'm being hyperbolic. I'm genuinely not. Like, this is a masterclass of animation. It really, really is. Nobody does it like Star Wars does it, and I will die on that hill. I really will.
Luke, would you be down for a weekly adventure series with Asajj and Lyko Strata?
Always down for more Star Wars animation, but I think what I'd say is that the way it felt teed up, it wasn't in the same way it felt to me when they teed up the Bad Batch in Clone Wars.
For sure.
Because it was left so ambiguous, it was sort of a taster.
Mm.
But I would love to see more Asajj in other stories, and we know that Filoni loves to bring in his characters into different elements. Who's not to say that, like, with the story in live action of Ahsoka now focusing around Night Sisters, that maybe she doesn't turn up there.
Yeah, I'm here for it for sure. Jack, what about you?
Yeah, the more Star Wars, the better, always. So I've got like 2 or 3 points, and as always, like I need to pick apart the story. So again, really enjoyed it. Action was great. Bit repetitive story wise, but this is what gets me. So I think Lyko definitely sees something in Ventress, and that's the reason he doesn't go on the path. So I think he's thinking outside the box as a Jedi. He thinks he can do more good with Ventress than going off onto the path, whatever that is, wherever it is. Now, story wise, this is my biggest bugbear, right? So they got the information really easily, really, really easily from a bounty hunter of all people. How can the Empire not get that information that quickly, that easily from a bounty hunter? That might be me just overthinking it, but to me, they located it pretty quickly. I don't know what the planets were that they were on either. I might have missed that completely. Fine,
I
whatever.
wish they would have given us little
Yeah,
Mm.
Ord Mantell or
same.
what they were on. I would have been curious as to.
Then obviously they met the general in the desert randomly. Fine, whatever. Star Wars. And then they bumped into the water people, and it was the water people that showed them where the ship was, and etc. etc. Again, fine. But for me, right, Sidious back in the day needed to track down, these 2 Jedi. He sent out a bunch of probe droids, tracked them down like that. Off Darth Maul went, nipped. Now, to me, I think there's a bit of a flaw there with how easily they got the path. I think what they could have done or should have done is, like you're saying, and they could have dragged this out a lot more, and been like a series essentially, like you're saying, like Ventress and Loco, down with that, how to get up to the path, etc. And then the ending could have been what it was on the 3rd episode. Fine. So that's sort of my gripe with it. But again, overall, really positive. Don't want to sound like a negative Nelly, but that's just my thoughts. The Star Wars, it's for everyone, etc. Yeah, but something I did absolutely love was the droid, that C21 Highsinger. What a droid that was!
That was cool.
Just like its functionality, its moves, the strength, like unbelievable. And so that droid is actually part of Crate's claw. So that's been on the block with Django before. It's been with Aura Singh. Like, it's been with all the Fets. It's been with Bosk. So that droid, like, it can move, and it showed in that really, really well.
Was that bounty hunter from anything? Because I'm not familiar with that Hunters game, but I wondered if it was from something like that. Because the design looked familiar, but I couldn't pick where from.
I know her name was Lat, right? And she looked like she was a Thelan, but I'm not sure. But I
Yeah,
thought she looked familiar, but I don't know.
She was
Yeah, so
almost kind of
that's
fairy looking. It was quite interesting. She was
Mm.
very fairy, very elf, very pixie-like. I thought that was quite interesting. A character designer and costume designer I don't think I've really seen yet in Star Wars. Very much more like a forest
yeah,
nymph than kind of your standard Star Wars alien. She was quite interesting and quite cool. And yeah, that
yeah,
droid
get
specifically reminded me of like IG-11.
Mm.
Same
Yes,
body movements, same.
the spin and Grievous when he was doing the little spider crawling as
Yeah.
well. Love
yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Ooh,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
horrid, isn't it?
she's been around the block as well. Again, she's been with the claw stuff. She's worked with all the bounty hunters. I think pretty much
Right.
all the top bounty hunters at some point have worked with each other anyway. But she actually went off and made her own syndicate later down the line.
good girl.
I
So
liked her
she's
dress attire weapon. Like she looks
mm,
all like look how
Mm.
lovely I look, and then she can pull it off and she can kill you with it. I mean, how what
So
a
yeah,
bounty
cool.
hunter.
really awesome. So like a massive shout out to them. And then the last thing as well before we move on to the Cad Bane stuff is that Sith Inquisitor. Like
A Goto, I
wow,
think.
Where do they keep coming from? There's so many of
That's
right?
what.
them.
Yeah, I wondered about that too because I looked up goat-like species, and the only thing I could come up with was a goatle because that's
Yeah.
kind of
Mm,
I don't know, but I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so
brilliant.
again, cool design, awesome fight. I loved how it finished as well. Again, no nonsense. Let's get rid of him
Mm.
and move on down the episode. But yeah, so for me, I liked it. I liked the arc. It was okay. Story bit repetitive, a few holes in it for me. Action wise though, and animation, like Charlie said, perfect.
I'll give you the finding the information too easy, but the Force will provide, and that's how they found the old Separatist guy, and they fixed the problem, and then the Force gave them what they needed. So
Happy
there you
That's
go.
days.
not how the Force works.
He did the magic hand thing. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, love it.
All
Love
right.
it.
All right. All right. All right. So next one we've got the Cad Bane arc. We've got the good life, a good turn, and one good deed. All three of these have the word good in them, and that's not what I think of when I think of Cad Bane.
Nope, sir.
So the first episode, we get these two young Duros running around on Duros, I believe. I'm assuming it was Duros because everyone looked kind of the same.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember Molly came in on one part. She goes, "I do not like those red eyes," and so they freaked her out a little bit. So we get to his childhood. He doesn't have a family. He's with his best friend. Stuff ensues. Blah 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 blah, and then of course they get separated. And I mean, I feel like this is the same kind of thing too. Like Jack, kind of like this story's been done. Like one good guy, but I don't know necessarily it's happened in Star Wars. It may have just happened in all the stuff I read, where one becomes a good guy, one becomes the bad guy. And like, crap, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's some pretty interesting things because then, of course, you get, I mean, what was the guy's name? What's
Lazo.
the Laszlo? Yeah, so Laszlo, we get Bane's look, just like most
Mhm.
people would do. They have a mentor, they pick it up, and then it was slow. It was, he put the hat on eventually. It was back
Yeah.
with the toothpick, and then I just thought there were some really interesting things. Um, some questions. Now, I felt this was kind of more Andor type, like storytelling. I mean, it
Mm.
wasn't as much action, but man, some of the stuff that we can talk about, I think, is crazy. So I like this one. I thought it was a lot slower than the Asajj stuff for me,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
have some good questions about I have one thing written down because I'm really curious about it. But yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's up there. It's definitely rewatchable. What about you, Luke?
The first thing that struck me is like the first few minutes while I'm watching it, and they're running around the street. What's his friend's name? I keep forgetting.
Nero?
Yeah. So they're running around the street, and I'm going. They're causing all kinds of hassle, and I'm going. Oh, this is pretty reminiscent of something. I can't quite make it out. And then someone calls them a street rat,
Yeah, start singing street.
and then there's an elaborate plot to rob someone of their fruit, and suddenly it clicked that like it's the same situation that Ezra Bridger was in. Ezra Bridger lost his parents. They were living on the street. He was fortunate enough to find people who were good and who were found family who loved him. And then Cad Bane isn't, and unfortunately, the series of events that plays out isn't quite so nice.
He does find love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie, what about you? How did you feel about this arc?
Oh my goodness. As I absolutely gushed about earlier in the episode, this was by far my favourite of the two arcs. Obviously, Dave Filoni has had his head in some books again because the second this episode opened, I wasn't thinking about Ezra, I was thinking about Oliver Twist.
Mm.
The similarities in the stories and the story beats were insane. You had Laszlo acting as Fagin, wanting to pull young Oliver into the bad and the criminal world. There was also some similarities towards kind of Bill Sykes and his character and what his character plans were going to be. But specifically, what I loved about these episodes, obviously, we know that Cad Bane is massively inspired by Clint Eastwood and the variety of cowboys that he has portrayed over the years. This is where the accent comes from, the hat, the swagger, the gunslinging, all of that is really, really inspired by old time westerns. This got amplified in this episode, and I am particularly a massive fan of the film The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And there were many, many
Yes.
moments in these episodes where I was quietly singing the theme song to myself because I love nothing more than a wide shot of two cowboys with their hats and their guns ready to go. It was fast paced, it was energetic, it was the tension specifically, and also the further into the episode you got, the more twisted the story got. I'm sure we'll get to the kind of the big reveal at the end, but whoa,
Yeah.
was not expecting that from Star Wars, especially on May the 4th.
Yeah.
The drama. The drama. Jack, how did you feel about it? I feel like you enjoyed this one as much as I did.
I absolutely loved it. Well, you all know, Bounty Hunters for me is my thing for Star Wars. I absolutely love them. I love the whole backstory behind Cad Bane. I was actually confused in the first episode. I was in two minds if it was Cad Bane as the kid, because then I did see Laszlo in the shadows, and I thought, is that Cad Bane? Is he getting the kids? And
Like
then
that
obviously we find
misdirection,
out.
though.
And yeah, massively. And yeah, great points about the Oliver Twist stuff. And I think in this one, of all of them, apart from the Dooku one, is you can see the point where the character changes from good, not good, bad, terrible. And it's so dramatic, the changes. I absolutely love this arc. What about you, Jimmy?
Yeah, like I said, I thought it was slow moving. I thought the
Mm.
action was good, but I felt like again it was slow moving. But I
Mm.
do think that you're right when it comes to like the Dooku arc. Like this one is very similar. I was picturing Aladdin in my head when I saw
Yeah.
the boys running around and Street Rat. I was like, oh, start breaking out in the song. I also thought there was some like Little Mermaid Ursula type stuff going on in the in the first arc that we were talking about. So Dave must have been watching some Disney
Yes.
episodes prior to making these. But yeah, I think this was good. Again, an awesome character study. And I think Luke, you said, who knew we wanted this? And I always want
No
backstory
idea.
on people, but yeah, I would not have picked Cad Bane out of a hat, or put that on my list of things I want to see. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it shows us now why Cad Bane is, well, I mean, he's the best bounty hunter out there because he's ruthless and
Yeah. Gets the job done.
he
how
had
do
it in
people
him.
feel? How do people feel though about having empathy with such a quote unquote evil character? Because there are people out there who want their baddies to stay baddies, and when you see the sort of situations that have led them to that, yeah, there are some people who love it. I'm someone who loves it, but then there are others who go, "Oh, well, you've sort of cheapened that now."
See, I think that I mean, just the stuff he does. I mean, he kills his best friend. He walks away from somebody we'll talk about here at the end. I mean, I think that makes him even a badder guy. Like I don't have
Yeah.
empathy
Yeah,
for him. I'm
I
like,
agree.
you're a big giant beep.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the start of it for me. So yeah, I can see though your point though. People might like, oh, like look what happened to him. Like, look what happened to him. Like, look what he did. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I guess we should just say it. Like walking away from his kid, man. That is cold blooded.
What?
I thought he was going to
Crazy.
blast him. I
And
genuinely
that's just
thought he was going to
that
blast
whole
him.
cycle then. So he's basically left his kid where he started this episode.
Mm.
His kid is now in that. So like my question is like, where's Cad Bane Jr.? Where's Isaac at now? Is he turned
He's
to super good guy? Is
he's
he the ultimate bad guy in the universe? Like, I mean, he could show up
hanging
anywhere.
out with Rot of the Hutt, Luke Skywalker, just having some therapy about their
Could you imagine?
crap dads.
They're
I
difficult
reckon.
dads.
You know,
I really wasn't expecting Star Wars to hit the deadbeat dad card quite so hard in this episode. obviously there's the kind of reveal of, oh, his lady wife friend didn't actually die on the plan. She ended up marrying his best friend, and then they had a child together. And I was, oh my god, they had a kid together. That's the bro code. You've broken the bro. No, it was, she was already pregnant, and it's Cad Bane's son, who
Yeah.
his best friend that he hates has been raising. This is some Love Island EastEnders level of drama
Yeah.
crafting, and I found
That's-
it deeply satisfying. I
What
was there
what
like,
gets me right? What gets me about this though, right, is as soon as I saw Isaac come on the screen, I thought that's Cad Bane's kid.
Yeah.
I was like,
exactly,
where, how
exactly.
and where would people be confused? Because he literally looks like blue skin, red eyes,
How
head
how does the
shape,
color
everything. Like,
how does the color
Mm.
come
differentiation
on.
Yeah.
work in their species?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was wondering
Yeah.
that too, because I was like, because mom was green, like mom was green,
Mhm.
Aaron, and I kind of assumed that's what she says. Like, there's more at stake than you know. I was like, oh no, she's pregnant.
Yes.
So that's
Mm.
what I thought when she said it. I was like, oh no, and
Yeah.
then,
Which is why she wanted him to live
but
so
I
bad.
definitely wasn't. I wasn't picturing Nero getting married to Aaron and then raising the kid,
No.
and then I mean that was like that's some like
Wow.
I don't know, Tony Gilroy in there helping out writing this stuff. Like my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, and then what it says as well later on into the like Clone Wars and stuff like that, when Cad Bane is trying to take on Boba, you know, he's got a real son out there, who you've left behind, but you're trying to take on another youngster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I'm kind of stunned by this. I feel like both of these episodes, both of these arcs have opened up. Dave does a pretty good job, and I know he hasn't like he creates this stuff. There's other people that are writing it for him and helping him with it, but they have opened up the universe a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like because I mean, this character Isaac, he could show up in what form, like where, how, and it's awesome and it's tragic, and I'm here for it. And the storytelling too, like Star Wars is for kids, but I don't think kids should be watching Cad Bane be a bad dad personally. So
No. But
Jack,
so you give me a really good point here, Luke. I'll come back to that in a second. And what you're saying there, Jimmy, is what I was on about earlier with like these little things, Tales of the Underworld. It's expanding everything so much again. There's like a spider web coming off this, like you're saying now.
Yeah.
You imagine Dave Filoni's blooming office, like there'll be brainstorms, diagrams everywhere, like this to this to this to this. But then going back to what you were saying there, Luke, about him essentially bringing up or showing Boba, Boba the ropes. Now, do you think that he let Boba finish him off in the book of Boba Fett on purpose because he knew his time was coming, or he felt sympathy towards his son, which is also the reason he helped raise Boba? Because again, badass bounty hunter, you've just got a kid turn up. Do you think he sort of sees Isaac in Boba?
That's
so
a tough
difficult
one.
to say, isn't it? So difficult to say when although we've had 3 episodes, they're like sort of 13, 16 minutes a piece.
Mm.
And I'm kind of married to the idea that Cad Bane isn't dead.
Yeah,
So I'd like to think that he probably, although he knew it was going to hurt, he knew it wasn't going to kill him. You know,
took the fall.
but I think it's definitely a case that like he sees, you know, no matter how hard it is for him to leave his son, or seemingly not, he's going to be thinking about him all the time, surely. Yeah. And when, you know, that must influence him taking on Boba.
Yeah, how would it not? I mean, they do officially have him dead at 9 ABY, but I have question mark because I mean I'm kind of in your side of things, Luke, where I think that flashing light was supposed to be like, yeah, he's not dead.
Yeah,
but
somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
At some point, people got to die and stay dead, though. I feel like. But, I mean, is it?
No one's ever really gone. Did you not get the memo?
I guess not. I mean, man. I guess not. Did you guys like the music as much in this one?
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. It did not hit for me as well. I mean, I don't know. I know they're trying to recreate, you know, Fistful of Dollars, Hang 'em High, that kind of stuff. I was surprised we didn't get a, you know, like whenever they're showing. But I did like
me
the
a little bit of
noon,
that,
like the high noon kind of reference.
Yeah.
He'll be here at noon. I was like, all right, Western. Like this is like the ultimate. Western. I thought this was pretty fun as in the aspect that this is a Western set
Yeah.
on the planet Duros. But yeah, I didn't think the music hit for me as hard on this one. I don't know what it was about the melody of the first 3 episodes. It was just, I don't know, it just worked for me a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think
more could have been a little more Western, maybe would have worked.
I think the tension someone mentioned earlier, I can't remember which one you guys mentioned it, but a lot of the tension was built in that music, in those sort of
Yes.
twangy, echoey guitars and stuff like that. And although it's not like as melodic and it's maybe not as memorable, it sort of all adds to that overall feeling, if you know what I mean. So I can understand why it might fly under the radar in the way that the previous arcs music was more prominent. But for me, I really still enjoyed it just as much, but just in a different way.
Very cool.
So I noticed a real contrast in the music between Ventress's arc and Cad Bane's arc. Ventress's music was very reminiscent of Japanese, South Asian flavors,
Yes.
very similar instruments, melodic pieces, lots of repetitive passages. It almost felt like it had come straight from Celebration Japan. That was actually quite sweet to feel like, oh, you guys watched that, and now we're getting that feeling as well. Whereas the Cad Bane episodes were very, very, very reminiscent of that kind of old style dramatic Western music without maybe some of the kind of flutes and stringy bits that we're maybe more familiar with, but the melodies for the Cad Bane, particularly his theme.
Yeah.
And as it comes in each episode, it comes darker and bassier and heavier and deeper set within the
Yes.
layers of the music. And that was just really, really, really satisfying for me. Ooh, very, very good.
I'm gonna go back and watch it tonight before I go to bed.
Same.
I've got to watch it. I rewatched the first arc with my partner just before we came on, but we're going to watch the Cad Bane one afterwards because she hasn't seen it yet.
Nice.
Yeah. This is definitely these are some of the most rewatchable Star Wars things, I think. Like
Mhm.
these tales of,
They're
because you can
pocket
throw
sized,
them in
aren't they?
there. Yeah, and it's
Mhm.
just like, I don't know, like you can throw them in there and just throw them on the background and you're picking things up, and it's not
Mhm.
something you have to heavily invest in, but it is changing the story, the narrative in Star
Yeah.
Wars, and it's setting so much up in these little blurbs. Like it makes me want tales of, but I want it
Everything.
I want seasons of it. I want, yeah, it's these
Yeah.
little tidbits, it's kind of like what they're doing with Visions and Visions Presents. Like I want a 45-minute episode of Ventress and Lyco or Cad, you know, right after he walks out. What's he going through? Is he going on a rampage of just complete violence because he's angry on the inside and doesn't know how to deal with? I mean, he just lost his girl. He just found out that he just walked away from his kid. Like, what is going on with Cad Bane at this point? Like we need a deep dive character study. So we need a little more time with them, I think. But yeah, these things are. I mean, I love this series. I wasn't sure
What
what to
is
expect on the first one, but now that we've got them, I want these this better be part of May the 4th every
mm,
year. I will
Please.
be angry.
Please. Oh,
isn't
great
it
Dave
isn't it
Filoni.
magic? Like, isn't it magic just how much they can fit into a 13 or 16-minute episode?
Crazy.
Because when you're watching Rebels or when you're watching Clone Wars and it's a 20-minute episode, they're fitting a lot in, but
Mm.
these somehow, because they've got, like you say, a lot of character stuff in, a lot of sort of world building stuff in, it feels like they're more packed full and more dense with stuff, but somehow also feel like they're moving slower even though they're shorter.
Yes.
What I will say as well about this last art, right? This is another little funny. So, Cad Bane murders a marshal in daylight. Okay.
Yeah.
The next episode, Nero then mentions that he's in for another 5 years, and I'm thinking, what? He's in for another 5 years? How long has he done so far? Then obviously we see the kid. The kid's got to be roughly no more than 6 to 9 years old. So
I was
let's say
thinking like
Cad
4 or
Bane,
5. Yeah.
he's probably served 8 years for killing someone in broad daylight. And then they mentioned like, oh, the legal system's not brilliant. And I'm like, oh my God, you're telling me it's not brilliant. I just thought that was brilliant. That was a nice little touch.
All right. So we've had 3 seasons now of Tales of. Just off the top of your head, what are you thinking? Where are you placing Tales of the Underworld and in the hierarchy of those 3? Like,
Ooh,
it's tough, right? So what are we thinking? Because each one, for me, each one's had a really, really great arc that really like spoke to me, and then one arc that was like, it's fine. So I'm kind of conflicted, to be honest.
So I'll start us off because it's quite easy for me, if I'm honest. The top one for me is going to be Dooku, without a shadow of a doubt. My boy Mace Windu's in it.
Tales
And
of the Jedi.
Yeah. So the Dooku arc. Then I'd probably go the Cad Bane arc. And then I'd go maybe the Thrawn arc. I think not the Thrawn arc. The Elsbeth arc.
Morgan Elsbeth.
Morgan Elsbeth arc. And then.
So you're going Jedi, Underworld, Empire.
Yeah. Jedi Underworld Empire for me.
Fair.
Spookily enough, that is exactly what I was going to go with. It would be Tales of the Jedi at the top for Yaddle and only Yaddle because I love her and she is amazing and she's voiced by Bryce Dallas Howard and I love that. I think that's so freaking cool.
Great job she does.
Great job she does indeed. Underworld, enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. Went into it in a little bit of a grumpy mood, being like, I'm not going to enjoy this. What's the point of this? Don't really understand this. Obsessed with the Cad Bane episodes, absolutely on repeat. And yeah, Tales of the Empire because at the bottom because I think that was the one that I was least about.
About you, Luke?
So I, instead of breaking it down the arcs, I'll probably just keep it with the pairings that they were in, just because it's I feel that maybe there's obviously a reason that they chose the stories they chose. But I really enjoyed today's one, right? I really enjoyed the Underworld one, but I do think that out of all of them, it may well be my least favorite. I feel really harsh saying that because I did really enjoy it, but it kind of speaks to the quality of the series overall, really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I'm sitting here trying to rank them in my head as well. Maybe I shouldn't have asked this question. I have to answer it, but because my favorite arc falls under Tales of the Empire, but my least favorite arc also falls in Tales of the Empire. So I'm like, what to do? What to do? So I'll probably say, dang it, this is difficult. I'm gonna put Tales of the Jedi, and then Tales of the Empire, and then Tales of the Underworld. But like, I would rank the top three would be like the episodes each one episode from each of these would be like in the top three for me, and then the other ones would be at the bottom. So it's kind of crazy because my favorite episode and my least favorite episode are from the same ones. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
yeah,
it's complicated, but yeah. So I mean, overall, sounds like we really enjoyed this. This is quite the treat for us on May the 4th.
Yeah.
I hope this becomes a tradition for. I mean, it seems like it has been, but I really do hope this. And then also, anyone who says that Disney's not planning stuff, Nika Fuderman let this stuff slip almost 2 years ago about this episodes. So they are correcting, the biggest complaint we've had a lot about the prequel trilogy or sequel trilogy. I think they have learned their lesson. And it shows you that they've really have planned out these things because, I mean, I don't know if she had already recorded it or she was getting ready to, but she knew this stuff was coming because that was right when the Bad Batch dropped. And she goes, this is just the beginning. So, hopefully, like I said, we get more and more and more of this.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us out, Jack?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was just going to say, before we take us out, I'd love for them to do a poll on the next one and actually do it and what's being voted by the Star Wars community. I think that'd be
Tales of the Droids.
amazing.
Tales of the Droids.
I don't know if they're going to do a Tales of the Turgle, to be honest, but I think it'd be the resounding winner.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. But yes, thank you so much, Luke, for joining us, buddy. I super appreciate your time coming on. Looking forward to getting you on the team as well. Can't wait for that. Make sure as well, if you're watching this episode, to like, share, and subscribe with all your Star Wars friends and family. It's all one word: Explore the Force. And if you watch on YouTube, please, please, please subscribe. And if you're listening, please leave us a rating and a review because it really, really does help. So please spend the 2 minutes just to do a quick review for us. Charlie, over to you.
Over to me. I did want to take a super, super quick moment to say thank you to all of our amazing listeners, watchers, followers, you name it. You've been a part of it for the support and for sticking with us over the past 2 years. I can't believe this podcast is only 2 years old. As Taylor said on our Facebook post, we can walk now, guys. We can walk. We're so big and grown up. It's been crazy to see the growth that's happened with even in the kind of 6 months or so that I've been here. Like it blows my mind. I said this on my Instagram. I still have to pinch myself because it doesn't feel real sometimes. And if you, our listeners, want to show your support and spread the word around by image as well as voice, then head over to Redbubble. There's a whole load of stuff going on at the moment to get some money off your favorite purchases. You can get Explore the Force merchandise, you can get drinks, you can get cups, you can get t-shirts, you name it, we've probably got it in stock. And also a massive thank you to the wonderfully lovely and talented Mark Roll for all of his jingles and tunes on the podcast. Go and show him some love and check out his social media as well.
Nice. Luke, thank you for joining. It was awesome getting to meet you. I love your takes today. I'm excited for you to do more with us here at Explore the Force. People, where should they check you out at I Like That Wookie, correct? Tell people where they can find you one last time.
So over on Instagram under I Like That Wookie, TikTok too, same name, and on www.wookiewatch.co.uk.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And for all of us, you've been listening or watching Explore the Force, we have spoken. We'll see you guys next week.
At the end, you'll understand. Close your eyes.